Why is it so hard for South Asians to talk about mental health? A few weeks ago, at a mental health conference in the UK, I learned that stigma is one of the biggest barriers. But Vidhi, founder of Antar, is breaking down these barriers with a powerful, culturally competent approach. Antar, meaning warrior looking inward in Sanskrit, bridges the gap by making therapy accessible and relatable to South Asians worldwide. The platform focuses on culturally competent care, connecting clients to therapists who understand their backgrounds and lived experiences. At the conference, one thing stood out to me. Mental health is often seen as a private issue, or worse, a sign of weakness. Antar addresses this head-on, ensuring care that resonates across generations.
So Antar's vision is to bring a South Asian through the door, provide them the care. If we feel they need more care, we have the clinical expertise to understand what more care they need, and then we can get them through psychiatry to a South Asian psychiatrist, or we can get them to a South Asian therapist, and within that, we can keep them within the continuum.
Vidhi's own experience with cultural shock, anxiety, and depression while studying in the US ignited her mission.
The moment I moved here to Colorado, there was just this eerie silence. There were barely any people around. There are like really strong winters, which was something I was not used to back home. And there were also a lot of cultural shocks that I ran through when I moved here. So that's when I ran into my own mental health struggles. And as a South Asian, when you move from back home, physical health is also not as gravely discussed. Mental health was like, whoa, what's mental health? I don't even know what's mental health. Is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with my brain? What is happening? And I started to bounce between a lot of anxiety, which then started to incur a lot of depressive episodes. And all of this was through the 2 years when I was in grad school, which meant I had to study well, I had to work hard, I had to make sure my grades were good, because in the end I had come here on a hefty loan. So I had to make sure I pay back that loan and I land a good job, which allows me to stay in this country for longer. So there was a lot of pressure on me as a student, and I was just basically grinding under that pressure. And so to find care, they started pushing me to get care on campus because that's what was affordable with my insurance. And I sat in front of a lot of white therapists. I at least moved between 2 to 3 different ones, and all of them were confused on why is this Desi girl cribbing about her grades? Why is she not happy with where she's at? It was very difficult for them to relate to what I was going through.
It was disconnect that inspired Vidhi to form a peer support group, offering a space where South Asian students could share authentically and thrive. Vidhi's journey didn't stop there. After landing a job in Silicon Valley, she faced another turning point, being laid off. This moment of uncertainty fueled her leap of faith.
So my biggest push was getting laid off. I couldn't bring myself to quit at all, because there was always a part of me like, am I the founder? Can I be an entrepreneur? Can I even say that? When I got laid off and I got some severance, I had some time, like I took 3 to 4 months off to travel and to think, what do I do with the severance money? And every time I would think hard, the answer would come back to me that I could either just spend it on making myself happy, or I can spend that money to figure out this problem deeper. And the same answer kept coming back to me. So I realized that there is some sort of purpose and calling here, which I want to address. Now the blocker was, how do I address that? So I started going to some business courses here at Stanford. I started exploring the options I have to learn the skills that I think I didn't. And that was a big turner for me, because I met a lot of other founders around here who were probably in their current job thinking of an idea, or who left their jobs and were pursuing an idea. So being around those founders changed the way I thought. Because to be honest, all my friends before that were corporate life livers. So they were used to the 9 to 5. They were used to having a steady paycheck. So my conversations with them would always be around that. But the moment I started hanging out with other founders, I realized, no, there's a different life. There is a way that I can make this sustainable for myself and I can believe in myself.
Antar's mission isn't just about therapy. It's about healing intergenerational traumas, fostering communication between Gen Z, Boomers, Millennials, and Gen Alpha. With users from the US, UK, Canada, and beyond, Vidhi's aim is to expand access to quality mental health care globally.
We want to break that intergenerational trauma and that miscommunication that happens between Gen Z to Boomers to Millennials to Gen Alpha. Try to figure out the gaps and bring these people together on the same page. And long-term vision, of course, is to make an impact for South Asians who landed up as immigrants in Canada or UK or even Australia. So to be able to reach these folks. And the longest vision that I have is to make an impact within India, because India has reached the point where mental health access is really important and quality care is the number one thing right now. Like a lot of Indians, especially the Gen Zs in India, are making that revolution of like talking about therapy and care.
Breaking stigma starts with all of us. If Vidhi's story inspired you, share this video, start a conversation, and check out Antar to learn more about culturally competent care for South Asians worldwide.